I really never thought I'd get to a point where streaming at 4 in the morning would be so desirable. I think what's happened, and I've explained this before, is that since my job generally has me getting off at anywhere between 1 to 3 in the morning, it's kind of messed up my sleeping pattern where I don't really feel like going to bed at this time like I used to. Like I always had this thing in the past about I want to stay up late, but then also get up somewhat early, like before 11 o'clock. So I would go to sleep at 3 and then wake up at like 9 or 9:30. And now I don't even care about like just being asleep during the rest of the morning. Um, it's one of those things where it just, because I have had to stay up for later periods while working, I'm more used to just being asleep during the morning, or rather attempting to be asleep during the morning because I mentioned before, the people around me, they don't care. They will interrupt you. They will jump up. They will make noises. They'll keep calling you over and over again. Um, it's really irritating. It drives me nuts. And a week like this, it's such a perfect encapsulation of everything that's wrong with the way things presently are, and how I always feel like to get the most basic of accommodations, or even like the most basic of, what's way of putting it, just like normal things, that there's a fight, there's like a struggle to have something that everyone else seems to be able to get or have, that you, for whatever reason, you're just barred or blocked from. um I had a dental appointment on Monday, and it went off, I'd say, pretty successfully. I mean, they did what I paid them to do. Didn't really like the price, but I digress. And after going to this appointment, I thought about this coworker I have. Now, I mentioned before, my job has cut my hours. I used to have three, a guaranteed three 7-hour shifts a week, and then another shift that was, if it wasn't 10 hours, if it wasn't 8 hours, it was anywhere from 5 to 6. So we're talking roughly close to 30 hours a week. And I was content with this. I was happy with this. I was glad to be, back in working after 11 months of no position. Um, but unfortunately, after we had the wage increase and the greedy employers decided that they didn't want to pay people uh, any semblance of money they could actually live off of, they cut my hours in more than half. And now, for the next week, I have, well, it was 10, now it's 15, but the week after that it's 10, or rather, that next week will be 15, and the week after that will either be 10 or 6, where they're only going to use me one time before the month is out. And I'm really irritated by this. And one of the things that has started to come up is that now I have 2 guaranteed days of work per week, and next week it'll just be one. And oftentimes I'll have to pick up another person's shift to get any semblance of 20 something hours a week. I had two coworkers who on Monday contacted me about, or rather, one contacted me, I believe it was on Sunday, and the other one contacted me on Monday about possibly picking up their shifts. And I said to one of them, I would love to pick this up. I'd be the first one to jump in my car and drive an hour and get over there. But I can't do it today because I don't know what condition I'm going to be in after this dental appointment. And after they took that thing out, I could barely speak. I was still kind of like audible. I had a little, I think it's the gauze, to stop the bleeding. And I had some medication that they assigned me to take, which I'm still taking. All in all, I just didn't feel like working that day. I had worked Friday, I had worked Saturday, Sunday, I worked the day after the operation on Tuesday. So I just wanted one day off, at the very least, after going through the closest thing I've had to any type of surgery in years. I don't even like calling it that because it makes it sound like it's a lot more bodily involved than it is. But I'm just saying that I really didn't want to overexert myself, is what I'm getting at. I didn't feel like, okay, they just ripped this thing out of my mouth. I can barely even talk as much as I would like, uh, or eat anything that I really actually want to eat. Let me go and jump in the car and head over to this. I wanted a break. I really wanted to just have this one day where I get to sit back, relax, and get some rest. And I did get some rest. I did get to lay down, did get to go to sleep, relatively early. Um, but what ended up happening was that as I worked on Tuesday, I started to get more of the feeling back, more just things weren't as internally painful as they had been the day before, and I wasn't really in that much pain either throughout most of it. I think the medication and the anesthetic rather that they used were effective, so I didn't really have much of a problem with just the notion of like, hey, here's this thing that was supposed to make me feel bad, and I actually feel pretty good. After going through that experience, I went to work Tuesday, and it was a regular old shift. There was nothing too significant about it. We ended up getting out 30 minutes late compared to when we're supposed to get out, but that's actually a good thing because uh, normally we end up getting out an hour late or an hour and a half late. So I was satisfied with the turnover in that instance. So Wednesday, I head over to just kind of like drive around, apply for a few things, hear nothing back. And I'm not that aggressive with it because I'm part of me is expecting that I'm either going to pick up a shift on Thursday or Friday. I'm leaning more towards Thursday because it seems like these things go in two where they'll give me a day off, then you work the next day, then a day off, then you work the next day. So I figured if it wasn't Thursday, it'd be Friday. And so Thursday, I go over to this person's house. And I go over to their house because their house is closer to the job than my place. So if they call me, I can just, in having the stuff and the materials with me, head over there. Um, this never happens. I'm not contacted by them one bit. So I said, okay, well, you know what? This is really irritating. In a week, they're only going to have me there for 2 days, one of which isn't even a full shift. So as Thursday passes, I wake up on Friday morning and I'm assigned a task to complete, not by the job, but by somebody in my personal life. And after waking up, I open my eyes, I look on their service, which shows like what shifts are available, or even if there are any shifts available. And what do I spy with my pretty little eye? An available shift. So I jump up and I click it. It's supposed to start at 6. I click this thing, and what's supposed to happen is that after you put in a request for one, a person who is in charge of shifts will approve it so that you can come and you can take it and then replace whoever couldn't make it. So, for example, if somebody says, "Oh, I'm out of like working today. Here, somebody take this for me," and it says 2 to 10, I can put the request in, and then it'll tell me before 2 o'clock, okay, you can come in. Um, and I also have to mention because of where I live, what I generally do is I'll put my request in the second I see something, and then calculate the amount of time that I should be given to be able to even get over there. So, for example, if I have a shift that starts at 6, I'll leave at 4 to make sure I'm not late, and because of how much traffic we tend to have in the afternoon, or I guess the early evening. And if it is past 4 o'clock and I still haven't heard anything back, I'll cancel it. So what I did was I put the request in at either 11 or 12 this afternoon, 11 this morning, 12 this afternoon. So about 4 hours before I would even have to leave, right? I complete my task um, before the day is up, or excuse me, before the time period starts to eclipse me. And around 3 o'clock, I take an hour long nap because I'm not really feeling that. I don't say rejuvenated, but I feel like I'm missing some energy, if you could call it that. And I wake up at 4 o'clock exactly because I have my alarm set to wake me up when it's like close to the time I'm supposed to leave. and I look on my phone, and I look on their thing to see if they've approved it, and when they don't, I cancel it. I say, okay, forget it. Um, and to me, that was the end of it. I tried to be there for them. I tried to take a position that they apparently wanted someone to take. I don't know. Maybe they just have a problem with me for whatever reason. I've talked before about that place and some of the weird people that are there, uh, and they're the way they act towards me. So I figured, okay, maybe they just don't like me, right? But of course, the plot thickens because we never can just have stuff be simple anymore. Around eight something. So this shift, I need to keep mentioning. It started at 6 o'clock. I wanted to leave at 4 to make sure I was on time for when it started because anytime after that, it's like hit or miss for me. I'd love to be able to just jump on the freeway and get there in 30 minutes, but that's only possible if the shift starts at like 10 or 11 or 1 o'clock in the morning, when people aren't even on the freeway anymore. And especially if it's Friday going into Saturday, there's going to be more people than usual because they don't have to get up in the morning and go to work. So as the time passes and I, just kind of like, okay, I guess I'll just do whatever tonight, you know, read some stuff, write something. I have plenty of things I do to entertain myself. I look on my phone and I see a message and it's from a number I've never been in contact with before, which has been like a running gag for the last few months. And it's the person who released the shift and they told me, "Oh, we saw where you tried to take it, but for some reason it didn't go through. That one of the managers is saying that you're good to come if you want." And I thought to myself, how insane is this? You're going to have a shift. It's not even a full 8 hours, by the way, unless we stay way longer than we're supposed to. You're going to have a shift that's less than 8 hours long, commence, and then 2.5 hours into it, you're going to tell me I can come, even though it takes me an hour to get over there, which means by the time I get there, it's going to be like 10 or 11 o'clock. And then in like 2 or 3 hours, we're going to leave anyway. So I'm gonna drive all the way out there for less than half of a shift. So I said to him, "Hey, I would have loved to have taken it, but you know, I released it because I just didn't have enough time to go over there. Like I don't want to be put in a situation where it takes an hour and a half to get to work, so you try to leave at 4 to get there at 6, but they won't approve it, so you don't even know if you're going to get the thing in the first place. And then it's like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then they suddenly approve it and then get mad at you when you're late. It's like that's ridiculous. So in total, I'm only working 2 days this week, Tuesday and tomorrow, and I'm really irritated. I'm irritated because it's like every job has a honeymoon period where there's something about it that entices you, makes you think, "Oh man, this might be different than what I thought." Uh, oh great, this is the opposite of what I used to believe, or there's something about it where you're like, hmm, this is not the usual awful thing that happens to me, and you get excited. You're like, I'm glad this is different. This is a welcome change. But sure enough, give it a few days, excuse me, a few weeks, a few months in this case, and they'll do something that almost completely disenfranchise you to where you don't even want to show up. Like I was thinking to myself, back when I had my 20 something hours, 30 hours, yeah, I picked up, shifts probably like every other week here and there, but I never I never felt like I was in a position where I was constantly having to take other people's days where they didn't even want to work as to have a chance of making like half of what a full-time employee would make. This wasn't a problem until the last month or so, the last like 3 weeks. And I looked on their site, they gave me an extra shift next for next Thursday where it's like 11 to 4, and I thought that was funny because I'm like, I guess they felt bad for me for not telling me, hey, you know, you can come in. Like Instead of having employees do that, why can't the manager call and like notify? And I guess what drives me even more nuts is that they know how far away I am. Like they have my address. They know that where I live is nowhere close to that place, and then they still do this. They still, play games. Hey, person, can you get here at 6 o'clock, even though we're just now telling you at 5? No, I can't. So I said, I just, it's not easy trying to work at one of these places. It really is. And it feels like every time you turn around, they're looking for some way to destroy you or mess up what you have or, cut them. Because we already talked before about how most of the frustrations with these companies and with these places comes from their greed, their inherent greed, where they just do not want, you know, regular average employees like non-managers to get any semblance of 40 hours a week, even like approaching 40 hours. Like it's a struggle to just get 30. No, I had one of my relatives, they said look for something else. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Tomorrow when I wake up, or excuse me, today when I wake up, it'd probably be around like 12, 1 o'clock. I'm just gonna go drive around looking for more jobs because this is not sustainable. I feel like a complete idiot even helping these people or doing anything for them because they don't appreciate me. That's why they won't give me any hours. They're like literally they're turning into the other place that I stopped working for, where it's like, they want to give you 10 hours a week or 5 hours a week. It's like, who can live off of this? And I guess what drives me crazy is that the thing about a lot of these new shifts that I'll pick up is I don't have to take them. I could just go get another job somewhere and tell them I'm only available Tuesday and Saturday, excuse me, Tuesday and Sunday, which are the days they seem to be the most interested in giving me days to work, and tell them to go kick rocks. Like I don't need to do this. I don't need to keep stretching myself out for these people and taking on shifts that otherwise they wouldn't even, I don't need that. I'm not obligated to take because they're not my shifts. So isn't it sad that when you like call yourself doing something that benefits them, they still find a way to just ruin it for you or make it to where you regret even bothering? So I said, I'm tired of it. I really am. Why is it that jobs can't just give people hours? Like, it feels like everywhere I go, unless it's only got maybe 3, 4 people working there, they love these part-time, half-time shifts. They love 4 hours every 2 days, 5 hours every 3 days. I'm so sick of it. That's been the biggest reason I've never been someone who really was, like, excited about working somewhere. Because as I've said before, the main purpose behind getting a job is being granted the ability to take care of yourself. If whatever you're making isn't enough to actually sustain your living, then there's no point in working there. Oh, it helps. How? Like if I'm only working 1 day a week and getting, I mean, even if it's $20, which it's not, but like even if it were $20 an hour, uh, and it's 5 hours, that's like what, 100, and then I go to the market, it's like 30 something to get food, 30 something for gas. Oh look, I've already lost 2/3 of my income for that day. Yeah, so such a great difference it made. Now, if they're giving me 5 hours each day, okay, well, I'm more willing to tolerate that. But the rest of this trap, that's why I said, like, it seems as if all I can do is just is either try to work two jobs or just keep playing musical chairs with these different companies, hoping that someone eventually gives me a full time schedule. And then it's like, who knows how long that'll last. Still laughing at that car that I think it was a delivery driver position where they were talking about they need they need full time employees more than part time ones because I was wanting to keep the other ones like, all right, I'll do full time. Oh, we have our schedule is filled for drivers. Like, okay, so then you're not actually you don't need anybody if you have so many people to where you can't even schedule me to begin training. The hell, such liars, man. They just everything with them is like half truths and talking out of both sides of their mouth. Just like I mentioned that I've had multiple coworkers disparage my position. Oh, it's not real. This all you do. But then the managers will be the first ones to tell you, oh, we need somebody that does this, and when you're not here, we have somebody else do it, and they don't want to do it. Da, da, da. It's like, so wait a second, the thing I do doesn't matter, but then you also need someone to do. That's what I said. It's a joke, man. It's putting these caps on these damn things is so difficult. Putting the caps on these things is harder than making a documentary. I'm not even kidding. I actually would say that and mean it seriously. Like when I do a documentary, I could just write something and edit this. It's so much more simplistic than trying to put the cap on one of these things. It's just so aggravating. God. But no, this week started off with a bang and ended with a whimper. And I was thinking about Monday and I said, isn't it crazy that the only day where people were just giving away shifts, they were begging, please take it, had to be the one where I went under the I don't want to say the needle, but like it had to be the one day where I said, look, I just want to recover. I just want to go do my little thing where they take this out of me and then just kind of relax for the rest of it. And I don't know, because it's like in retrospect, it makes me frustrated just by because it's one of those things where there's no way I could have predicted that they were going to what's way of putting it, they were going to have it to where on that particular day, uh, everybody suddenly wants to not go to work. And what lousy timing. Because it means that if I didn't have these unusual circumstances, I could have technically worked 4 days this week if I had been in better health on Monday and then I guess just driven over there today, like or rather yesterday, without having it confirmed. So I guess now anytime you want to pick up a shift, you have to call them. You can't just pick it up on the site like normal people used to be able to do. And I mentioned before that what happened is that they had one manager that would approve the shift request, and he left. Some say that he was fired for not doing anything. I don't know if that's true or not. That's a rumor I've heard. But the point is, after he left, the current person is like really slow, like a damn glacier. I mean, you have to bother him and bug him to get him to do anything with that stuff. It's terrible. They make a lot of changes that I just find to be very dumb. God, I can't believe this. How do you work somewhere, have avail and like my availability is literally early afternoon or rather late morning to the morning of the next day, Monday through Friday and Sunday. And it drives me nuts that even in being available pretty much whenever they want me, outside of one day of the week, you only get 2 days of work for a whole week. Because the one day everybody was offering shifts, you were sick or not feeling good, whatever, because of this procedure, and the other time they just can't be bothered to contact you and say, yeah, you can come in until after the shift is already 2 hours in. So I say everybody always says go get a job or whatever. It doesn't make a difference. Even after you get one, it just opens a Pandora's box of employers playing with you and doing all types of little cheap stuff to cut corners and not have to pay people. And I'm serious. It looks like the only way to feasibly be able to survive is to have like two or three jobs. Like I want to go on that website and put my availability to only be Tuesday and Sunday, and then go and apply for some job with somebody else and tell them, I'm only available, I don't know, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then some other person for Saturday and Monday. Like it's really getting to that point now. And I really don't want to do that because the problem with a lot of these employers, as I've mentioned before, is that they are antagonistic to their employees. They fight their employees when they find out, oh, you're working somewhere else. Okay, you can go work for them then if you can't be here for us. I've seen that. That happened the last time I had two jobs at the same time, which was what, 3 months ago. So I really don't want to go through that again. But it looks like they're nudging me in that position with their hour cutting nonsense. And it's gotten so bad that I've actually had shifts where in the middle of it, you'll just, be working and they're like, hey, you want to go home? Or my favorite thing that they like to do is they'll put on the schedule that you're there for 7 or 8 hours and then you get there and you're only there for 3 or 4 because they're closing early. They just don't tell you, which to me is very obnoxious. Because I've had situations where depending on where on how long I'm there and what the hours are of me being there, I'll park certain places. Like there's one place I'll park where uh, if you don't move your car by 3 in the morning, it'll get towed. And I have had instances where I've been there until 3 in the morning. So I try to not run that risk by parking over there ever uh, when I'm working that late. Which is crazy to me. It's like, how do you have a job where they tell you it's 6 to 1, and then you can sometimes be there as late as 3 a.m. Like, the hell? That's why I say live in the twilight zone. Like you can't trust anything anymore. And I mentioned before, this is the only job I've ever had where they can just like say, "Oh yeah, we were supposed to get off at 1, but we're gonna have you stay an extra hour and a half." They want you there all night long. You'll just be sitting there like, "Damn, this is still going." And some of these managers won't even let you take a break. Like they have the one forced 30-minute break that they always try to shove into the first 2 hours of a 7 to 8 hour shift, which I find very obnoxious. And then they have to give you two other breaks, but they'll just forget about it, or they'll if you request like, can you do this first? Can you do that? Can you do this? It's like, damn, man, like you skip your breaks to try and get them out of here earlier or finish your work or whatever, and as you can see, no good deed goes unpunished. I'm just thinking they really wanted me to come over. It's like, hey, 8:30, you can come if you want. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave here now and then get there at 9 to 10 something, and then have to leave after, let's see, 11, 12, 1, at most maybe like 4 hours. Man, but that really baffled me. I was like, why couldn't they just contact me before it started? Like, why is that so hard to do? The answer is they don't care. Like I said, if you're a manager, you don't have to worry about, oh no, they're only going to give me 10 hours a week. No, that I look on their schedules. I see people there from 12 in the morning to 12 in the next morning, 12 in the afternoon to 12 in the morning. I saw one manager, they were there from 8 a.m. to like 5 or 6 p.m. And that's why I said that, like, it just seems as if these jobs are tailor made for people who've been there for a long time. and they give their little buddies hours and do little like favors for them. And if you're not part of that clique, you might as well just like get lost. Um, I mean, I can't believe I'm someone who's been called lazy for not having a job, and I'm literally complaining that they won't let me work more. It's like, oh, what a paradox. But that's what it's turned into, where you just have to keep fighting and trying to argue to get more hours. You just can't win. You can do everything right, and it still isn't enough for these bastards. Available anytime they want you, always willing to pick up shifts and come when they need you, supposedly, and it's never enough. They'll still only give you 10 hours a week. And I at first I said, okay, maybe they're just doing it for these next 2 weeks, right? No, they kept going and going, and then it dropped to 6. So I wouldn't be surprised if they always uploaded, I think, on Tuesday. I look on there next Tuesday, it's another 6 hours, and then the week after that, it's going to be 6, and then the week after that, it will be 6 or 3 or 0. Like, what the hell is the point of that? To me, that's the most horrible thing about working somewhere. The idea that like you get used to being there, and then they just phase you out. I went from having 30 hours a week to getting one shift this whole throughout all the weekdays of this week, and then uh half a shift on Sunday, and that's it. And I mentioned before, I don't even like quitting jobs, because not because I love working at these places or anything, but because I hate the process of trying to get, when it's the most dragged out, multi choice, going nowhere nonsense you've ever seen. Like, I had a place that literally had me make an email to start as one of their drivers, and then they sent me a "Dear John, it's not you, it's us" letter uh, within a few days of that. Like, what was the point of me making this email, filling all this crap, if you're gonna not use me or reject me? Or it's stupid, man. It's just dumb. There's another restaurant where I applied to work there. I think it was yesterday, and the earliest they're like, "Oh, we can do an interview with you." I'm like, "Okay, great." I look on the dates for the interviews. The earliest they can do an interview with me is in almost 2 weeks, the 26th. I said, "Well, hell, by that time, I mean," I pledge that the latest I've seen interviews by places that actually want to hire somebody, like just in general, it's probably like 3 business days, 4 business days. Like within a week of when you apply, you should hear back from like, "Hey, can you come in today, tomorrow?" Da, 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 da. I've never seen that before, where you have to wait 10 days at a minimum to even have an interview with these people, and like you don't even know if they're going to hire you. They might just say, "Well, you look pretty, but bye." It's crazy. That's why I said these employers have lost their minds. It's like just I don't even know what they're doing. They've gone mad. Just like I ordered something from the place one day. The employees get a half discount, which is always my favorite thing of being with one of these food companies. I like the discounts because I that's like the only time it feels as if you're actually paying a decent price for this trash that they make. And I ordered some food, and the first thing I noticed that was off about it is that they gave me one of their reusable trays instead of a box and a bag to put it in, even though because I said I wanted it to go. Um, and when I was handed it, I said, "What the hell?" And one of the managers was like, "Oh well, this other manager, he wants us to give member employees uh, this type of thing instead of the boxes he's trying to save." I was like, so even though I ordered this stuff and paid for it like any regular customer would, I am not allowed to have the same basic accommodations of a customer in receiving a box and a bag to put it in to go because they want to be cheap and save a few boxes per week. You better believe I took a box because I've ordered from there so many times. I took a box I had, I washed it out, I put it in a bag, and I when they handed it to me, I put the thing in that box and then handed them back their tray. I said, "You guys are out of your minds!" Like, oh my god! Just think how insane this is. You're gonna order something to go, but because you're an employee there, they're gonna just ignore that. They're gonna just give you a tray and you better eat it in here or else you're gonna have to just carry this in your hands. That to me, that's crazy. Like I don't know how any and you can almost like see it in their face. Like they know it's stupid, but there's that person at the top that wants to control everything. Man, they always find a way to just take the fun out of all this stuff, don't they? Oh man. So if you're an employee and you think you deserve a box like any regular customer who's ordered something with their hard-earned money, think again. And somebody might say, why is that such a big deal? I mean, you have your own box. It's like, well, my point is that sometimes when I'm there, I don't have that with me. I don't just come in there prepared with my own stuff from home to be able to put this in. So it is an inconvenience to me to order something with the intention of leaving that damn place, whether it's to go outside or to just get out of there altogether. But oh, we can't put this in the container for you because the manager said employees don't get that privilege. It's nuts. But that's the that I don't know. Everything is just them wasting and being cheap. Like that's almost cheap to an absurd degree. Like people, you're getting the money that people are paying for this stuff, but because they work here, then they're not allowed to have the same accommodation as a regular customer would get. Because I guarantee you, they try to pull that with a regular customer. Customer like, what the hell? Where's my box? It's funny. Speaking of regular customers, I actually did have a coworker who apparently couldn't tell that I was someone that worked there, even though we've been working together for roughly 3 months now. Um, and my uniform, I don't really look that much different with it. It's literally just a hat on top of my head, and then you know, like a shirt. Like it's really some of these people just. I'm telling you, you want to talk like I talked before about the mundane existence. They really have this thing where they go to a job like they're there, right? They work there. They do their little task. Oh, go run over here and grab this, pick this up, take this order. But it's like they're dead inside. Like I'm not even trying to make it sound like it's all about me, but I've had people where I see them in some different clothing from what I normally see, and maybe my mind doesn't instantly click that it's them. But if they're in front of me long enough and I've seen them multiple times, I'll go, oh, that's what's her name? Well, that's what's his name? Like I have some coworkers who have hair that when they put their hat on, they don't really like. It takes me for a second. I'm kind of like, oh, because I've never seen them without their hat on. Uh, but I still can recognize the person if they're like in front of me long enough, and when they speak and I hear their voice. I just thought she was crazy for that. I didn't recognize you without your uniform. I was like, I don't know how. Like I have this extremely distinct appearance when I put it on or not. It's like it's a disguise. People are always they're sad. They just so I said it's the mundane existence. When you have the mundane existence, you say and do stuff like that where people come up to you looking the way that they would under any normal circumstance, and you're like, oh yeah, that's you. Oh yeah. I mentioned before when I was working at this retailer, there was a guy that came in there, and I was working this 8 hour shift, and like he said I didn't recognize him or whatever, and he was like, oh, I can't believe you're still in here, and that wasn't even from just um, you know poor memory. It's literally you have so many people come in there that you don't just distinctively remember every one of them that just appears. Oh man, I tell you, employees, what are we gonna do with them? Oh, I know, cut their hours. First, we'll cut their hours. Then we'll tell them we need them, even though we actually don't. That's why we barely use them in the first place. And then when they get a second job, because they can't possibly live off of the little crumbs we throw their way each week, we'll try to sabotage that too. I remember when I saw this one job, and they were talking about, their part-time employees only work on Saturday. I said that's perfect. This job Saturday, the other one throughout the rest of the week. Okay, good. And then guess what? They started talking about we don't really need people for part-time positions. It's like, okay, but that's not what that's what I agreed to. Like, if you don't need people for that, then don't hire me. It's that simple. Especially since you guys are already not planning on hiring me anyway. It's all these places know to do is just hype you up just to waste your time and have nothing come out of it. That's always one of my favorite jokes that when I'm not there, my coworkers are so happy. They're like, "Yes, he's gone." It's like celebrating, throwing confetti and streamers. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, people, they're really good at pretending they like you, but you see the fakeness every year. You don't even have to look hard for it. You can just like be around them and see how unreal it is. I even say that's one of the biggest reasons why I never get attached to these people at these jobs for the most part, because I know that once I stop working there, I'm never going to see them again. They're never going to try to contact me. Um, it is what it is. Like nothing you have. I guess I look at it like this. When I was a kid in preschool, middle school, to some extent high school as well, I always had classmates. Maybe we weren't particularly close. Maybe we didn't hang out that often. But I always had classmates where if there was a way to talk to them and I really felt like this is a nice person to be around, this person I enjoy speaking to, like I actually have some kind of connection with, I would get their number. I would try to stay in contact with them. I wouldn't, I guess I'm just not used to the idea that if I truly like someone, their their lack of just being around me by happenstance forces me to just have nothing to do with them. Like, it's hard for me to believe that that's normal. Like, oh, hey, classmate that I really like hanging out with at the monkey bars at school. Oh, or the gym or whatever. Oh, you're going to transfer to another school. Okay, goodbye forever. I was never like that with anyone I actually wanted to be around. I would always, just make sure to get the numbers of people I liked. Because I remember when I was in seventh grade, it was like a whole tragic event learning the month before school was out that they weren't going to have school next year and that the school was closing down. And I made sure to get the numbers and contact information of damn near every person that I liked. Uh, I think I probably missed a few, but still, like I made an effort. I didn't just say, well, we're not going to school together next year, most likely. So I guess I'll see you around if fate decides that. But that's how these coworkers are, where you'll have somebody who will sit there and ask you all these questions. How old are you? Hey, what do you like to do? Hey, so you drink? Hey, you got a girlfriend? All this different stuff. And once you stop working there, even though they can get your number off of whatever means that is not directly given to them by you, they throw you away. And that's sad to me. That really, I always say I don't try to do the psychiatrist thing, but I do have a problem believing in the um, legitimacy of relationships for the most part. A lot of this stuff I don't think it's real. I find it all to just be a bunch of baloney. And a big part of that is just seeing how easily someone can go from acting like you're the most interesting, dynamic human being they've met in a long time to completely forgetting your existence. And again, I know that as adults, we have people that we have other things we're occupied with, concerned about. So maybe we can't just sit here and talk to every single person that we might have wanted to be involved with or have some kind of association with. But my point still stands that if we're actual human beings who formed a connection with somebody, we're going to try and make an effort to keep in contact with them. It's that simple. We're not just going to say, well, person doesn't work here anymore, so let me just never acknowledge them again. Or like I remember there was a young lady that worked at my job, and she was there temporarily. And when I found out she was leaving, I said, "Hey, you still want to speak? You got an email or something?" She was like, "Oh, I'm going to be in school in Arizona, and I'm going to be busy studying." And, da, da, da." And of course, what it is that you're more interested in her than she is in you, and that's the way that this stuff has always been right from the beginning. But I'm simply saying that if it's someone who I genuinely want to keep in contact with, you're not going to see me just once I stop working there. You never hear from me again. Seriously, like I can't do that stuff. It drives me nuts that people are like this. Like adults and regular just grown or close to being grown human beings are so finicky as to completely throw somebody away and shut them out and not make any effort towards talking to them because they happen to no longer work at the place you work. And that's why I said if that's all it takes to never speak to somebody again, I guess it wasn't really a relationship to begin with. Oh man, it's hard to buy into a lot of this propaganda. No, I can admit that in the past I was a lot more outgoing with my attempts to keep in contact with people, but gradually I just got sick of it being so one-sided. Like I had one person I said, "Why is every time I come over your house I have to invite myself or ask can I come over? Why don't you ever call me and try to start something up?" I mean, literally it just seemed like everything was based around, you always having to be the aggressor. And at a certain point you want some sign that it's not all, so one-sided. Like, does this person actually like me? If I just completely disappeared, would they even notice? And I can't help but feel that with most of them they wouldn't. Um that's just that's the way they are. If your everything is built on convenience, what's around me, who's around me. And once you stop being something that's convenient to me, even if the task they'd have to do to get in contact with you again is something as simple as sending a message. Hi, how are you? I haven't heard from you. You'll never see it. Oh no, that's the biggest crutch of a lot of this stuff. It's all so one-sided. Your willingness to work is not met with a job that actually wants you to work. That's why they give you so few hours. Um, your willingness to just go out and talk to people, oftentimes you find that they're not as open to starting dialogues themselves. Like, I mentioned the thing with the I don't want to talk about her right now. Just it's irritating when you just see how much stuff is all only happening because one side wants it to. Because at a certain point for me, I catch on to that. I say, hey, look, why is it every time we speak, I call you? Like, damn. I just wish there was like a bigger push to actually, do stuff together. Like, but no, instead we have to deal with everything being so one-sided. So one-sided. But I'm not excited at all to have to go back to the job search. That's going to be the most grueling saga I've had in a while. Because applying for stuff is no fun. Going to interviews is no fun. Driving here, there, and the other place. I got to a point where I started calculating, like, if this interview is more than this many miles away, I'm not going to it. All this gas wasted, time wasted, just chasing after jobs. You don't have this certificate. Oh, you have all the stuff for this one. Well, we don't think you'd be a good fit. Oh, you meet all of our qualifications. Well, we still don't think you would be a good fit. It's just I get tired of it. And like I said, even if you get hired by one of these places, who's to say that in a month, 2 months, hell, even 2 weeks, they go from giving you 40 hours a week to 20 or 15? Like, you just can't trust anything. And it's really sad too because no matter how much you say you want to be a full-time employee, they just don't care. You could say, how many hours you going to work this week or for a week? 40. And then you look on that paper, it's not even half of that. It's just so damn annoying. Yeah, I had a feeling you would show up, Jim. Anytime I want you to come to a stream, I just put this book in my hand, and then suddenly you come like a dream. It's all it takes. Put one of her books on screen, and Jem appears. He shows up. It's like doing a magic trick. What do you mean leave her alone? I was reading her book. I almost was finished with the with her what was that, the 2011 memoir, the no higher honor in my album. Yeah, UN Gaddafi. Trust me, if I end up doing a documentary on one Secretary of State, it will be her. She's very interesting. Oh yeah, uh, it's kind of funny. She spoke to me on last time I saw her was Tuesday, and she basically tried to act like her what she didn't happen. Like it's I tell you, these people. Sometimes I think it's either invasion of the body snatchers or they have a split personality. Well, she has plot armor. I mean, you can go around making nonsense, or excuse me, nonsensical reports of people that are not substantiated by any semblance of proof, and you still keep. And I did say when I spoke to a lady that I don't want to retaliate against this person. If anything, I just want to sit down and actually get to the bottom of this. For you to accuse me of something where you feel like you can't even directly speak to me, you have to go and pretty much run behind the teacher's skirt and try and get someone in trouble. I think is very cowardly. I mean, hell, if you listen to her, I should have been fired. So stop trying to cancel her. She genuinely felt uncomfortable. That's why she sat next to the person that made her uncomfortable and sought him out. Yeah, I asked her if she was mad at me. She said she wasn't. So if she ends up speaking to me again, I tell you that like real life has turned into Looney Tunes. Oh, by the way, I when we spoke on Tuesday, it was initiated by well, the first time it was initiated by her. So if she tries to say, "Oh, he came," it's like, no, no, cameras show you came over to my area. So yeah, I tell you, I haven't met a broad this interesting in a while. I'll admit that this one is going to be someone I remember for probably some years because it's been quite an interesting saga, man. I'm scheduled to see her tomorrow, so we'll see what other updates await. Almost ended up seeing her yesterday actually because I tried to pick up a shift. I mentioned this earlier, and they wouldn't tell me if I had it or not until it was already 2 hours in, and I said this is stupid. So if I had been able to pick it up and gone and been on time as I originally intended, then I would have been there with her for multiple hours. But again, we'll see. We'll see what festivities await us on Sunday. Hmm. Well, it seems like she's trying to retcon what she did. Like she didn't really want to directly address it. Uh, so I don't know, man. It's weird. I'm not as worried anymore because what is this? Sidestep. Yeah, because I directly was like, I don't have any recordings of you, and she's like, oh, okay, okay. So that's why I said like I'm not as worried anymore because again, if she tried to go and report something again, I think they would know she's full of crap, and also the cameras from like Tuesday showed that she initiated it, so I'm not too worried. But I don't think it'll work out for her if she tries to pull that again. I think she's just gonna be proving the definition of insanity. No, these documentaries, man, I feel like a complete idiot even making these. Honestly, like I said, here's this 7, 8 page, 10 page, 15 page, 20 page script. Man, I'm gonna read off this whole thing, grab all these pictures, in some cases, grab some videos, and then people aren't even gonna watch it. Yeah, I was just I did the most work on Johnson Part 5 that I've done it probably in the last like 3 weeks. I mean, I was sifting through pages and just kind of like writing some stuff down, and I was thinking to myself, man, this is. I've got 2 clips of him I'll probably put in there as well. This interview he did with Walter Cronkite, and then he had an appearance. I think it was Meet the Press. So I'll find a way to incorporate both of those in there. But yeah, I'd say the earliest I would expect that is at the end of the month because I'm still nowhere close to having it finished. Generally speaking, 20 pages is about the length of an hour, so getting it to around 17, 18 would probably be where I would think it's like close to having its script done, and right now it's only like 7 or 8, so it's not. I wouldn't even say it's halfway done because I wasn't working on it. I was focused on FDR Part 2, but I don't know. I just want to get closer to actually finishing the one I started first. Plus, Jem won't even finish watching Part 1, so I feel like I should just give up. I'm still laughing at when you said do a Nikki Haley documentary. I said, well, that's actually not impossible. Um, in fact, I'd say the biggest problem would probably be that while her presidential campaign was pretty well covered, she wrote a memoir like when she was governor for only a year. It was really weird. Like you would think you'd write one before you become governor, or maybe halfway through at the end of your tenure. No, I think the most likely period of her life I would actually want to document is probably that presidential campaign of hers because it was just so nuts. Like I can't believe she lasted longer than every single person except the eventual winner. Like she came in second place, even though she got stomped in 20 something states already. It's just crazy how stuff kept escalating. Like when she came in third in Iowa, but then everyone's favorite, the sanctimonious dropped. I was like, oh, she might actually be able to pull off a victory in not in North Carolina, New Hampshire, and that failed, right? So we're like, okay, well, hell, if you can't win your home state, I guess she'll be out. Nope, stays in, and then after staying in, can't win any states except Vermont during that Super Tuesday primary, and then finally is like, okay, well, forget it. I don't even know how the hell she won Vermont. I'll give Haley credit for one thing though. She's one of only two politicians I've seen in person. The other one being Sanders. I went to two of his events when he was running for president the second time. I still can't get over that meet and greet. I was so excited. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get my picture taken. Yay. And she came in there. She talked for 20 minutes and then ran up. It's like, this is so lame, man. The best part were the protesters. Imagine if music concerts were like that, where they were like you. Well, actually, I take that back. They are like that, where you sat there for hours, and then the singer comes and does like what one song. That to me, that was just so anticlimactic. Like you sit in these lines, you go inside the event, and then all you do is hear the person talk and say the same old generic crap for not even a half hour, like 20 minutes, and then she runs up out of there after taking pictures with maybe like five people. Because that was after the Saturday where I got stood up and went to the convention where they wouldn't, where I thought I was gonna get my picture taken with some people and it never like went through. So I was like, okay, well, I guess anytime you go to a public event where they advertise that somebody's going to be there, just expect them to leave early or not be able to actually do anything with them. It's really sad because like they hype them up so much, right? Ooh, this celebrity is coming to town. Wow, and then you don't actually get to do anything with them. They just leave. They just jump up. So it's all pretty lame. Oh, Jim, now that the campaign is over, I'm gonna mail you the Haley campaign hat I had. If I can even find that damn thing. Usually, the only stuff I get from these campaigns are like a hat and a mug. So I'll make sure to mail you my copy. Dude, that's the funniest part to me about that stuff with that woman. It's like I had three different people who said she's gonna get you in trouble, and I was like, "Come on, we're both adults here. We've had a problem before, and we talked it out and resolved it without any of that other stuff." But no, they were right, and I was wrong. I didn't listen. That's why I said you just can't trust anybody. They're always telling lies. Oh, we're friends. Mm-mm. We're enemies. But in all seriousness, I do think that when you try to talk to somebody about the things that are bothering you with in terms of your relationship with them, the other person should be more receptive to you. Because let's again, I get where if I go up to somebody and I'm like, "You're an idiot. You betrayed my trust." I get where they might not want to hear that in that manner. But if I come to them and I say, "Hey, look, I really want to hang out with you, and you just seem to be pushing me away," and they like calmly explain that they're dissatisfied with something. There's no yelling. There's no, hell, there's even a little bit of smiling, kind of joking around a little bit. Uh, I just I just can't understand the logic of getting upset with that person who you came and sat by and then, storming off. That's why I said I never really feel like I'm around adults anymore. Like, yeah, people might have cars, they might have a job, the hell they some of them might even have kids, but it shouldn't be impossible to just come to someone and calmly tell them, I do not like this, and I don't like it for this reason. I think that I'd like if we could do this together. Because again, you're not dealing with, like, I've had people try to accuse me of being immature, but if I'm actually trying to make a friendship, relationship, whatever the hell work, I'm going to tell you what I don't like or what I do like, and you know, attempt to be receptive to any critiques that someone like. I've had people who will be against some type of joke that I might make, and I didn't mean to offend them, and after you find out that you did, uh, abstain from making that type of comment. All this is to say is that people who are actually trying to keep somebody and build something with a person, they're going to at the very least be receptive to whatever the critique is. And when I spoke to her, it's like you have this person who, she might say, I'm sorry, but she doesn't actually do anything that signifies that, yeah, I don't want you to stop speaking to me or feel like when you send me a message, you're just, gonna have to like pray and I guess light a candle vigil, hoping that I respond. Um, but they don't care. They don't see you as something that's even worth getting, worked up over, as far as like, oh damn, I might lose this person. I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. So they'll just, they'll come and talk to you when they're bored, but as far as like actually being receptive to your criticisms and trying to improve in some constructive way together, they don't, you're whatever to them. So it's just another reminder that relationships are just this big hassle that I'm not excited to keep participating in. And every year, man, it's just more reasons to stay away from them. I didn't know your mother's name was Mary. That's a beautiful name. Yeah, send her my best regards. But my point still stands that people, if they're actually trying to have relationships with each other, whether it's platonic, romantic, they should be receptive to the other person coming forward and saying, "Look, I want to talk to you about this." Because I'm telling you, I tried as hard as I could to stay calm, try to lighten the mood. I know it's a prayer, it's I'm making a joke. Um, and it's like even in doing that, still rage quit on me, still jumped up out of her chair like a crazy person. Are you gonna like keep going at this? It's never enough. They don't want to hear anything other than faint praise. That is the first time that somebody has come to sit by me and gotten so angry that they just like, I called it rage quitting. They abruptly leave after getting mad at what you're saying to them. I've never had that happen before. Like, I've had people on like websites where they'll hang up a call on you or something, but as far as like I'm gonna come and seek you out and then get mad and jump up out of my chair, no, that's a new one. Oh man. Jim's talking about LOL. I was LOLing when he said that his favorite vice president was Kamala Harris, and then I found out he was telling the truth. I was like, wow, really? I'm telling you, this was a year of like awful elections. Like I wanted Marianne Williamson for president. I wanted Barbara Lee for senator. I wanted me for congressman, and then everything just went. Dude, Barbara Lee is the saddest case because I really believe that if Porter hadn't have jumped in and had them split the progressive vote, they could have, and Schiff didn't have trillions of dollars just laying around. God, I can't stand that guy. I'm. Oh, California, what am I going to do with you? To think none of this would be happening if Kevin De Leon had beat Feinstein back in 2018. I voted for him. I wanted her gone. And if she was gone, then she wouldn't have been on that seat when she died, and then we wouldn't have had a replacement senator and other stuff. So it's all just frustrating. I'm not even kidding. I'd rather donate to Carrie Lake than to Adam Schiff. Dude, Lake is so funny just watching her campaign where she's like, "Oh, they took this from me. Okay, where's your proof? They took it from me. Where's your proof? They took it from me." She was hoping so badly that she would be Trump's VP, and it didn't work out too well for her. Like she's not even on the short list, is what I think is comedic. Like even Tulsi Gabbard is on there. Dude, Tulsi is like I never thought I'd see somebody who was supposed to be the successor to Bernie Sanders, like in just a few years, now suddenly a top contender for VP on the Republican ticket. Like, what the hell? Dude, she has no morals. Like some people that exist, the only thing they're trying to advance is their own damn name. I'm not even trying to be funny. She is just a snake in the grass. You can't trust her. All the people that like her don't even know what she's about. It's time for a wake up call. That lady is just a true chameleon. Oh, I see that Jim walked away from his computer again. He's over there typing to some woman. Send him a DM. It's a trap. That's why I said relationships are really interesting in terms of just how when people actually like each other, they can be so fulfilling. And then when like one person really likes the other one, but then the other person doesn't like them or not as much or whatever, it's torturous. Like I said this before, and I wasn't even joking when I said it. When I found out it was her that did that, I really felt like someone ripped my heart out of my chest. Because again, you start thinking you know this person, or at least you have some idea of who they are, and that you kind of get the sense that they, you know, think this way of you, right? You have like certain lines that you think you both won't cross, and then they cross it, and then suddenly you just don't know what to believe. No, it was a real shock on my part. I still just wow, it's crazy to think that was only 1 week ago. It feels like it was longer because it's just been nuts to think about. I mean, this whole like pattern of behavior of hers, where it does seem like every 2 weeks there's a new problem and then some kind of rekindling. And I don't know what else, what other little tactics that she has planned. No, I'm missing Jim. I remember when he used to write things. Now he just sits there with his keyboard frozen in a block of ice. Every time he writes something, all the news organizations pull up in the neighborhood to try and see what's with this special guest appearance by him. Like, what, he wrote something again? Really? I should give Jem the same like stare that I was given some weeks back. I can't remember what day that was. Was it a Sunday? Hmm. I'm trying to think what day that could have been where I got the face. I know it was a day to remember. I mean, I don't know what was going through their mind. That was pretty crazy. People really do just like have almost nothing internally. Like when they go to these jobs, they have like the built-in belief of doing what is necessary to get it done, and then outside of that, they just can't be bothered to actually like process what am I doing exactly. How does this affect somebody else? Jem likes doing that. He teases you with the idea that he's going to write some comments, and then he runs off and disappears for the rest of the stream. He says greetings, he makes his little cameo, and then he lets go. Galactus had more screen time in Fantastic Four 2 than Jem has in my stream. To me, that's still the craziest thing that we got a live action version. We had a chance of getting a live action version of Galactus as early as 2007, and it's not even a live action version. It's just a stupid cloud that's designed to look like his helmet. I find that comical. No, I just I don't even know what to say anymore. Everything is such an aggravation. You should have seen the look on my face when they contacted me about that shift. I was like, "You guys, the only people in the world that would not give somebody something that you know they need, and then come like hours later, hey, if you still want it, like no." So I said, if you're not a manager, you might as well not even try. Oh boy, it's going to be an interesting day, that's for sure. Yeah, me and this one person were talking about Boruto, and I was mentioning how one of the biggest problems I have with fans of a lot of this stuff is that they have this instinctive idea that making a new character or a new villain is automatically better than bringing back an old one, um, which I don't find to be correct. I think a lot of it depends on the execution, the reasoning, the rationale. But also, you have to like factor in when you give a new writer the chance to make their own lore and their own characters, and the characters they make are not as well received by the audience. They're not interesting. They're not, they're nothing that anybody would write home about, right? Maybe there is a point to people yearning for the past because the present under this new person is abysmal. And that's why I said that I really would like to see Cell come back, for example, in Super. Now, I'm not talking about the stupid kaiju version that was in Superhero. I'm talking about like actual Cell. Like make an arc where Gohan has to accept the fact that he let everybody down, right? Uh, during the Buu saga, and then his redemption is taking out the one villain that he was able to actually beat without, you know, like with no question, which is just unequivocally defeat, and that makes him realize, like, yeah, I have made a mistake in not following up on myself, but this is what needs to happen for me to, finally be redeeming of my past transgressions. Like I don't know why no one wants to do that. It's so weird, but well, it has to do with the fact that this series is currently being written by people who really just don't care for that character all that much. So having him be anything other than the butt of all jokes is not a thing to really see. Just reading something somebody wrote. Imagine like your job is to just draw a manga, 40 pages a month, and you're like, I need a break. To me, that's comical. There are so many people where if their job was to just draw, they would be pumping out 11 pages a day, probably. I'm really getting sick of these monthly mangas. They're the bane of my existence. Because if that one chapter is trash, you have to wait 30 days for a second attempt. How many times that one chapter is not good? Like I've never read Boruto, but all those chapter summaries I've read, they don't sound too exciting. Where is this damn thing? Yeah, I just finished typing this thing this person sent. That's the great part of all these time zones. It might be 5 in the morning for you, but it's 8 a.m. for somebody else and 12 in the afternoon for another person. I have to admit that's one of the most fascinating parts of the world, is just how you'll always have somebody up somewhere doing something. There's always a little activity going on somewhere. But no, going back to what I was saying about Boruto, um, I remember the biggest problem for a lot of people with the ending of Naruto was the treatment of Madara. So I thought it'd be cool if they end Boruto by bringing him back, or having him come for it, basically like a second chance at actually being the final villain of a series. Yeah, he is one of my favorite villains in all of Shonen, and I really wish that he had carved out the path to actually being the final antagonist, because he just had so much build up, and I think the ball was definitely dropped. These manga writers, again, they think if just because their character is new that they're better or good, and they're not. Like I can't think of one villain from Boruto that people talk about as like being cool and interesting, because they're not good. Like I had a conversation with this guy, and I said, wouldn't it have been so much better if that series just it made a handful of new characters, maybe like 5, 6 kids for the returning cast, like two teams, right? And then they just used the older characters as mentors, and like distinguished their relationships with Boruto from that of his dad, instead of just everybody has a kid, so it's all next generation trash, like I just thought that would have been a way to organically use the older characters, but in different, possibly more interesting ways than they've been used in a long time. Yeah, it's a difficult time trying to write stuff and explain it to people. That's one of the reasons why I said I don't have conversations about a lot of this stuff with regular people because it seems like a lot of it devolves into power scaling and just stuff I'm not that interested in. I unfollowed this guy because they every time you see them on, I'm really getting sick of that with Twitter, where there's people who you'll send them a private message and it'll be like months later, just never responded, right? But then they're on that site all day long, tweeting to their heart's content. I find it so irritating, man. Jesus, get a life. I heard one person was trying to say, "Oh, you sit up here and do a stream for hours every week." It's like, yeah, but that's only 1 to 2 times a week. These people sit on Twitter all day long. Like they're on that one site from like 8 in the morning to 11 p.m. Some people tweet 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 times a day. Like they're on social media all day long. Some of them, I don't even think they go outside. Like, or if they're outside, maybe they're walking and they're still typing. I'm serious. These devices have really destroyed some people's minds. Like I use them to talk to some people. I use them to post stuff, but sometimes I really will just take a book and just read through it. Like just I want something different. I like variety. Hell, one day I turned on an old console. I was playing a game on there. I hadn't played a game in years. It's like I just like doing something different every now and again. I don't want to just do the same one thing every. It's one of the reasons why I don't really like a lot of these jobs because there's almost no variety to be had. Like I make jokes when I'm there more often than not with the people saying hi, how are you, but like actually, just the day to day activities, they're mundane. They're generic. And I, for one, really don't enjoy going through the same thing over and over. I know that somebody like Jim likes to do that, but he's alone. He likes to experience the same old crap repeatedly, done over and over again. I'm not as intrigued. I'm serious. Sometimes I wonder like what people would do if they had a prompt that said, uh, "How about today you only go on your phone for an hour?" Or "How about today you actually go out and talk to somebody?" Because I mentioned that like with even with that woman, it's she was just staring at her phone the whole time we spoke, and how I've always done a thing where if I'm actually interested in talking to somebody, I'm gonna look at you when I talk to you. I'm gonna put my phone down. I might not even look at it the whole time we're speaking, as far as even just like peek at the device, because you're the most important thing to me. When we talk, it's you and I, not you, I, and my screensaver. People are just so damn rude. God, it's going to be 6 hours of some rest, and then I'll go out there, and there will be something goofy happening because there's always something goofy happening. I didn't even get to mention that nonsense from yesterday where you're supposed to pick somebody up and they don't even tell you that the person's already been picked up until you've already arrived there. It didn't make any sense. I don't know. Every time I say I'm going to go do a big job search, I just get, I guess you could say, like a lack of motivation. But I hate the idea that you have to like do this combination of driving around the whole damn state, not the whole state, but just like a big part of it, and then going online, filling stuff out. Maybe you get hear back from a few places, interview tomorrow, interview next week, interview in 3 days. You go to interview. Oh, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your experience. Tell us about what you'd like to do with your life. Da, 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 da. And every time they bring this stuff up, I'm just like, you guys don't care about me. Like, if you want me, you'll have me, and then we can discuss whatever the hell. I just think it's so dumb, man. Like all these questions are so obnoxious because it's not real. Same job, they'll act like they want to get to know you, be the first one to give you your pink slip in 3 weeks when you live up to their improbable and impossible expectations. Gotta admit, it's frustrating when you have good conversation with the person just for them to stop logging into their account. Then the interaction is pretty much destroyed. Yeah, I mentioned there was a woman I used to talk to back in like 2015. We got along very well. She had a boyfriend. I didn't care. I just liked speaking to her. And once she stopped logging in, I believe it was her Skype account, it was over. Never heard from her again. And it was the craziest thing. It's like, you like me enough to where we have these hours long conversations, but for some reason you can't talk to me. You have to log in. Logging into your account is just too tough. It's too impossible. It's too difficult and objective. That's why I said, man, anytime somebody says they like you, don't believe it. Because if they have to do anything that takes them out of their comfort zone, they're not going to do it. Yeah, with this woman, I really do feel like I'm just on a. I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm dumbfounded. I think some people are just. If that's the case, I always wondered why not give you something to contact them regularly. Very strange. Well, I mentioned that a lot of these chicks, they have this thing where they like you in a certain way, and if you try to do anything that's not in that boundary, it's like too much. Uh, you remember the woman from that one job where I asked her if I could email her, and then like her first reply is telling me that she's going traveling around with her boyfriend, which made me just go and not even want to send anything else. Uh, so I said all these relationships are just, I call them situationships, where it's like, oh, I want somebody to talk to on this one website. Oh, you want to speak to me outside of this? They're repulsed by it. because they like having you as their little clown toy to pull out on that site, and then when they log out, they don't have to deal with you anymore. Just like with his coworker. I mean, the whole drama started from me catching on to the fact that you talk to me when I'm here, but outside of this, I hear nothing from you. They love it. They love these little segmented, fragmented, ways of because, like, think about it. If you like somebody, if you truly like somebody, if you want to talk to them, no matter what site you're on, you're going to give them more ways to contact you. I mean, it may sound harsh, but what other reason, what other thing could you justify it to be? It's not hard to make an account on these other sites. You can make a new Twitter account in less than 5 minutes. So as well as a new YouTube, as well as a new email. I mean, that's why I said it's it, it's not hard to see through the veneer because it's never been easier to talk to people that you actually want to talk to. Just like with this damn woman. Oh, I'm not a call person. I mean, that's already stupid, but if this person wanted to talk to me, they would be I've seen chicks where if you can give them credit for one thing, they will type stuff so fast that you'll say, "Damn!" Like they'll write 15 messages to you in the span of half an hour. Like they'll just going and going and going. This one, you have to send her 2, 3 messages to get her to reply maybe more than once a day. It's awful. You're not even like forget being a second rate. You're not even 10th rate when you talk to her. That's why that thing on Sunday happened. Yeah, I've seen it in person happen I've seen in person how fast and frantic they can type on their phone. Some of these people, you would think they were born with like super speed fingers. Like their fingers are as fast as Sonic when he runs. That we might be able to make a video on the response to the train wreck because I've seen like 5 or 6 different stupid comments on there. I'm just imagining the title "Lies versus People Train Wreck Edition." It's not Justin versus women or men versus women. It's lies versus people. It will be lies versus people. They've written some really dumb stuff. I did manage to see them. It was pretty ridiculous. One guy said that if you try to be friends with a woman, you must have some mental issues. Another guy left a comment where he said, "If you want to go the bleach route, too bad for you. Women are half the population." And I'm like, "Idiot, do you not know that we're talking about refusing or not wanting to participate in trying to have close or intimate friendships with them anymore? Like them being half the population has nothing to do with my complete ability to just shut off any attempts at trying to grow closer to any of them. I did that for years, and I can go back to it too. Seriously, like if I actually wanted or was attracted to either of the broads that were in that video, I would have never even spoken to them all, like, period. Because I would have said, okay, I like this person. They're obviously not going to like me back. Why bother? But again, because uh, I thought there was a much lower goal of just being friends with the person, or getting to know them more. I lowered my guard and got pierced because of it. Your points are so strong they can't make actual rebuttals. And they are dumb. I was embarrassed. I said, "Isn't it sad that like all these words in human language, you took the time to write a comment, and it still doesn't even address any damn thing in the video." Some of them write stuff where it's like you could take their comment and post it on any video, and like it wouldn't even it would like it wouldn't you wouldn't even know what video they were responding to. Like there was one guy that said, "Dudes like these make me feel better about myself." It's like, okay, whatever that means. I mean, it's trash. Like it's all just nonsense. That's why the outro is so impactful and foreshadowing, in my opinion. Well, yeah, because I just accepted that the way this stuff is going to go is no matter what ridiculous or bad thing a woman or a series of women do to me, there's going to be some bonehead, normally a guy, but sometimes some chicks too, that come and defend them to their dying breath. Chicks they've never met, chicks that are doing something that any normal person would see as stupid, contradictory, ridiculous. They're going to back it. All to defend that precious triangle. Because you know damn well, if there was some woman that came up to me and said, "Hey, you want to go see a movie?" and I agreed to do it, and then I stood her up, not a single soul would say she deserved that. And if she wanted to ignore me after that, but then I decided I was going to ignore her back, people would look at me like I'm crazy. Like, what are you upset over? She has a right to be pissed. And if I came and sat by her and then got mad because she confronted me over my inconsistencies to where I got up and left and then tried to say that she was making me uncomfortable, I'd get laughed at. Telling you, that second woman, man, piece of work. Like with her, I feel like I'm watching God, what's a good analogy? I'm trying to think of some like some analogy that you'll be able to pick up on. Uh, I did say she's like Magneto, where you go from being like bad to bad to good again. The way she was talking on Tuesday, it sounds like we might, she might be wanting to speak again. I don't know. Their brains will automatically start functioning if the roles are reversed. Oh yeah. You think if I was talking to some broad that lived in a state that was far away from mine, and I was like, "Oh, my girlfriend won't let me talk to you," anybody would be defending that? They would say, "No, you weak coward." But when a woman does it, she has tried to gently tell you from the beginning. Oh man, I'm. It's funny. It's like every time I mention her, there's always someone that comes and defends her. She has like the like the bimbo brigade that just appears. No, the brainless brigade. They just storm the gates to back her. Like at least when her boyfriend and that other broad person that has a problem with me, who I think she's someone from my past. At least when they came and are writing stupid stuff, I was like, okay, you know what? They've spoken to her. One of them spoken to me. You know, recurring villain status. I get it. But it's like these guys don't even know that lady, and they just She actually put up a video. I think it was yesterday. I didn't watch it. I just saw the thumbnail and read the description and saw the comment section because like I said, it's soured grapes. I'm not supporting the channel that decided to delete all the stuff I did for it. It's too bad when you no, I'm not even gonna say that. When you yeah, I'll say when you delete somebody's comments and you don't delete their views and likes, she would have lost a lot. These have been some betrayals. Like that's why I said you can't trust anything. People will tell you they like you, and then before you can even close your eyes, there's already a knife in your stomach. I wasn't even trying to be funny when because I think I didn't mention this, but like Friday, I had a toothache right before having my the procedure that they did on Monday, and it's like after I got the call about her, the toothache just evaporated. Like I had this joke that it gave up. It said, "Well, hell, I can't do anything worse to him than what she did." I still think that was really irrational for her to do. It was so irrational that like the person that would nominally be on her side is like, yeah, what is this? I remember you mentioning that. That's why it was crazy uh, hearing how you're, and I just think it's nuts that she set herself up to be discredited. Like you try to say somebody made you uncomfortable, but then you also are on video coming up and sitting by them. I said to a lady, if somebody is making you uncomfortable, why would you go and sit by them? How do you explain that? Why would you like? I mentioned I didn't even know she was outside until I heard somebody say, "You're reading," and I looked up and I saw her in all her maked up, caked up in makeup glory. Uh, and that was only when I like picked up on the fact that she was close by. Yeah, way she was acting on Tuesday, we might be entering a supposed reconciliation phase. And you know what? I'm not even scared because they have this stuff on camera again. So I don't, I don't, I think that this is just what because we didn't speak for that long, but the vibe I got is that she knows what she did was dumb, but again, because it's a woman, she will never admit that it was wrong, of course. Um, so she's like incapable of directly saying, "Yeah, I shouldn't have done this." But it's like being kind of signaled subtly that you know this is not what you really want out of it's weird, man. I told you I feel like I'm on a damn hamster wheel with her. We didn't go to the movies as friends, but we sure have been going to work as enemies. God, I just keep thinking about January and how I had like the whole thing of what's the worst that could happen if I ask this coworker if she wants to go see a movie. Oh man, I had no idea what a roller coaster it has been. So when I got that call from that lady, my heart dropped all the way down here. I was like, "Oh, what could this be over?" Because I said before, I don't even talk to barely anyone there. You going to give her another a chance? I am more than 100% certain she Would never forgive you if you did what she. Oh, of course not. The only thing I want to do with her is just clarify, and I tried to do this on Tuesday. I have no recordings of you. I would even say I would never try to get you in trouble like you did with me, because I take being employed very seriously. That's literally all I want to say. I'm not sending her any more. Like I said, the last time I sent her a text message was the cricket. Uh, so I am basically, for the most part, finished with her. I just want to, clarify or have a chance to like actually sit down and make sure that there's no misconception about he has these tapes of it. No, I'm telling you, I can be forgiving of most things. I can forgive her getting up and walking away from me. I can forgive her staring at her phone the whole time we spoke. Uh, but hell, I can even forgive her standing me up to go to the movies because it was like, if maybe you really were busy and you're trying to do it with me another day. But that whole thing with she puts your position in jeopardy. I know, and that's why I said I just want to have the chance to say I don't have anything of you, and I wouldn't do this if the situation had been reversed. So that's it. That's really all I want from her. I tell you, a lot of these people that work these jobs, they think this stuff is a game. Like they don't, you know. I hate to say this because it makes me sound a certain way, but I just don't think they have the maturity to be able to process, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't use this method. Because I told you there's something wrong with that chick. Like, there's something with her where she can't. And you know what it is? Chicks by default don't have to be outgoing and assertive and forceful, right? So, like with me, if I thought somebody recorded me and it was like such a thing that scared me, I would directly go to them and say, "Hey, look, can I talk to you for a second? Did you record me?" Or maybe if I don't want to be that direct, I can send a message, "Hey, did you record me?" But she won't do that. She can't. That's what a normal, assertive adult that actually is like in control of stuff would do, right? So instead, she has to go and do this backdoor method to try and like intimidate me because the people they call you, we're not going to go through your damn phone. So I guess that was like her only solution. Even I already told you before, I think it was motivated by a belief that she was recorded, like which I can buy that, right, even if I still think it's goofy, whatever, and also retaliation for saying effectively I'm done with you. Uh, so you get where it's like her insecurity probably fed into the desire to also like get retribution in that way. Some of these people think they're playing chess, but they're so bad at the game that they're mesmerized by the horsey and they're just moving it anywhere with no actual like end goal in sight. I'm also 100% certain that she would never have given me a chance if I had stood her up. But I told you that's the problem with any semblance of attempt to have a relationship, be it platonic or romantic, with the modern woman. They just have a different set of rules than we do. I told you I had a woman hug me that works there. And you better believe if I went up to some woman I'd only spoken to maybe like two, three, four times, and I wrapped my arms around her, it probably wouldn't go too well for me. Uh, Even with this one, who I've spoken to for over a month, have the number of, talked about doing stuff with outside of there, I still wouldn't feel comfortable putting my hands on her. That's why I said they don't have the same rules that we, because like if she touched me, whether it was a hug or, I told you they could grope you if they wanted to, and face no consequence. There would be no like, oh man, he said he was uncomfortable. That wouldn't happen to her. Like I said, a lot of them are handsy and no consequence. Yeah, I feel they haven't really matured or developed much in adult fundamentals. Like they haven't been disciplined and probably are used to getting away with treating so many people like trash. And you understand where for me it's like a bigger slap in the face because this is someone that you went out of your way to do stuff with, that you used to have this good rapport with, and the whole downward spiral started from you asking her, "Want to go see a movie?" I told you that last conversation we had 2 Sundays ago was like literal self parody because there's an exchange during that interaction where I ask her, "You working Monday?" She goes, "Yeah." "Tuesday?" "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, me too." "You working Wednesday?" "Yeah." Well, excuse me. She goes, I ask, "You working Wednesday?" She says, "No." And I ask her, "You busy?" "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, with that second job of yours." And it was funny because it's like she doesn't even try to pretend that she's doing some big huge. And I never mentioned this to you, but like the week before, I asked her if she wanted to go see a movie because I had that idea in my head for a little bit before, because I always like try to run through, right, how is this going to go if I actually do it. Um, the week before I asked her, I saw her outside, and I asked her if she was doing anything on Saturday, and she said no. And again, I pledge I wasn't even like entirely sure I was going to eventually ask this, but I just like asked it, just making conversation. Like, okay, that's interesting. So like, it's fascinating that like that the two instances where I asked her, "Are you busy on Saturday?" back in January, she wasn't busy, and now every single goddamn weekend she's just you know so preoccupied with stuff. It's like, yeah, I mentioned that because of where I am, I hear like when the managers are talking to different people, so like I know her availability is 4 p.m. and after, so which means that like feasibly you can do something with someone during the morning, during the early afternoon, and then go to work any day of the week. Uh, but she just chooses not to. Which again, you have the right to, but it's like don't sit here and act as if you're the busiest person on earth. Of course, she just doesn't want to. But that's why Sunday was such a pivotal like moment because it was like everything was on the table. I was just going through all of it in this 6 7 minute time period before she just doesn't want to but can't actually tell you straight. And that was the point I made. I said, like, I'm not stupid. People here think I'm dumb, but I'm not. I know when someone doesn't like me. I've seen plenty of chicks on the computer that did the same dumb thing. Instead of just saying, I don't want to do this with you, I'm not interested in doing this with you, they come up with all this other BS. Oh, maybe. You want to see a movie with me? Maybe. Oh, you want to get have a call with me? Maybe. Like I'm tired of maybe. It's either yes or no. There is no in between. There's either an up or down. But they like doing that. They like being indecisive and they like playing games. And I just don't have the patience for it. I waited a whole month to see a movie with her. We're supposed to see this damn movie. I think it was like February 2nd or 3rd. And I just like how much longer are you supposed to just sit there with this inhuman patience? Like we're 2 weeks away from April. Imagine asking somebody to go see a movie at the end of January and having to wait until like May or June to possibly do that with them. That's why I gave up. I said, this is taking too damn long. I don't even have to wait this long for my best friend to go see a movie with me. And he was at certain points living in other states. Like I said, if she had just said no, I would just brushed off. Hey, I asked somebody, they said no. It is what it is. But she can't do that for whatever reason. I tell you, all the crazy stuff started coming out after that. I'm not a call person. I'm not really a texting person. I'm not really a social type of person. So, oh my God, why? Oh, why? Tell you, man, I rue the day that I became fixated on even doing anything with her. Because if I knew any of that stuff before asking, I wouldn't have even tried. I would say, hey, look, you're just too weird for me. But you prematurely call for a woman who'd be interested in you. Triple L would have said that to you. Oh, don't remind me of her. Dude, it's like what interest? Like you understand? I bent over backwards for that coworker. Like I deleted basically my whole Saturday just to make sure that I'd be available to go and hang out with her. I was gonna leave the convention where they had pissed me off left and right to try and come to where she was and drive all those miles over to wherever she was. Uh, Even after like she ignored me, I got on my knees metaphorically and apologized to her. Look, if I've hurt you in any way, I'm sorry. You saw the message in the video, and I only started getting to the point where I'm like, no, I'm not doing any more apologies. When I saw how she was treating me over the last few weeks before these last 2 weeks, where it's just a bunch of non-committals, and it was driving me nuts. Not appreciative of your effort either. Man, I tried. Like, that's why I'm just gonna say this. It'll never not drive me insane that you have these guys who will try and criticize somebody for like, oh, he didn't try. It's like I've tried with her more than any in real life in I'd have to say at least 4 or 5 years. Like it's been a long time since one of them had me just jumping through all these hoops, uh, to bask in their presence and be around. And again, it's like all of this is just to hang out with somebody. I didn't ask her for a date or if I could take her back to my place. Even though I actually would like to take her back to my place to do a stream with her because I think it'd be interesting to hear these people and their nonsense from their own mouth. I probably won't be able to make anything off it because they swear like drunken sailors. I really can't imagine how you two would be together. Well, I told you I'm not attracted to her. She's a supposedly fine looking woman with a nice petite figure. Uh, I don't know how much of her actually looks good under that makeup, but she's. It's funny too because I was thinking about that guy, the one that said we were flirting, and like he tried to say she's cute, and then he backed out and he was like, well, she's you know this, and I thought it was funny because it's like even the guy that's like trying to get me to be attracted to this broad that I keep telling him I don't want to date, even he has to like put an asterisk around his compliment. Just the way how she behaves with you is so strange. Well, she's not a very social kind of person, but it's with everybody. I'm telling you, man, I don't understand this broad at all. It's like, you know what? If I give her a nickname, it's going to be Mixed Signals Queen because every time you think it's one way, it's something else. Like I thought when she got up on Sunday and walked away, we were and did her report, we were done. And then Tuesday, she's coming up trying to speak to me, And I try to talk to her as she's like going to her car and is like rushing out. That's another thing with her. I've never seen people where it's like they get off work and they act like they act like the damn team Sonic and egg it was it the hero and villain teams are at the end of Sonic Adventure 2 where they're just in this big rush to get to whatever they're trying to get to. Like I walk her to her car and I say to her, I'm in no rush to get back to the hellhole of where I live. And she's like, oh really? I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh well, I hope you have a good night. And I have to like say to her, I actually want to talk to you about something to get her to just talk to me for an additional like minute and a half. Like it's it's so crazy how I'm serious. Like remember how at the end of SA2 they have to all team up and they're all in that big rush and you got the that's how she is. Where the second it hits the clock for when she's supposed to clock out, she just speeds through. The only time I've seen her take her time in leaving was that night when I walked her to her car because she was waiting for her food. And even then, she didn't talk to me. She just stared at her damn phone like she always does. Every time, man, just like this is her staring at the phone, doing your little bit of crap at your mundane existence job, and then rushing back to your house the second you're clocked out. That's why I said I wish she would stare at me half as much as she stares at that phone. I would actually feel like she wants to get to know me. There may be some time left if we pull together. Just leave it to me. I'm the world's fastest hedgehog. Then let's get to work. That would be funny if I did invite her to do a stream. I'm like, hey, I'll give you I don't know, $20. You can come on this stream and you don't have to be on camera. Just talk about yourself. Yeah, mixed signals queen. That should be her name. I'm not even gonna say my coworker. We're just mixed signals queen. MSQ doesn't want anything to do with you. I'm serious, man. Like every time I think it's over, there's like something to pull me back in, or I don't get her at all. She is, man, like she'll talk to you when she's clocked in. When you're not clocked in, you might as well be dead. I might as well be a walking, talking corpse. Mixed signals queen. Mixed signals queen. Does she like you? Is she mad? Or is she someone in between? Well, remember, dude, don't forget you just met one of her personalities. The one you'll probably meet the next time is the one who'll want to reconcile with you. I'm telling you, I was surprised by how easy it was to even get her to agree to go see a movie. Like I've said the exchange multiple times, but I was like, I really was shocked by how simple that appeared, and then I was totally unprepared for all the crazy twist and turn stuff that happened over the course of that week. And then I was surprised again by how easy it was to reconcile with her. Where it took one message, one smooth, I'd say heartfelt message where I said, "Hey, look, if I've hurt you, I'm sorry." Uh, and then I thought, "Hey, maybe things will get better. We can try to pick up where we left off." But it seems like the only lesson she learned was don't actually make any type of commitment towards doing anything with him. Like I'm not kidding. Though those 2 weeks drove me crazy because I trusted her I felt like she betrayed my trust by saying, I'll let you know, and then never updating me, right? No update. And that's why when we had the exchange we did that particular Sunday, I just let her have it. I made fun of the, I gave the rundown last time, but you get the point that like I just couldn't take it anymore. And even in doing that, I still was calm. I still was like kind of laughing, whatever. Okay, are you gonna like keep going at this? And then I thought it was done, right? I thought that was it. Okay, person got mad at me and rage quit. We're finished. But nope, there was a little bit more added on with this nonsensical report that made her look stupid. Uh, and then Tuesday she speaks to me and says she's not mad at me. So I don't even know anymore. Mixed Signals Queen is an interesting character. I just know that if we do end up speaking, I'm going to tell her I don't have any recordings of you. The only thing I have of you is a wound from when I'm not actually. No, I'm not even going to say it. I'll save that for the actual conversation. I had a whole line, like series of lines planned out if we speak again. Seriously, this is one strange lady, man. Like she's more mysterious than Batman. She jumps in that car after getting off of work, disappears the rest of the week, and then when she's there, just either when she's not working, just staring at the phone. That's really insane. This whole saga with this one lady, dude. I almost want to write a book about it. Imagine Mixed Signals Queen, the coworker from California. I don't like. I'm still in shock that this has all just transpired over the course of. Because I'm telling you, like she was unremarkable to me when I first started over there. Like I had a little bit of jokes with her, whatever, here and there. How are you? Da da da. But God, it's like after I asked her if she wanted to see a movie, she just like started taking over this like corner of my mind where I would get excited, like, oh, is she gonna be there? And I just think it's crazy that like if I knew the stuff about her now that I like if I knew this back then, I would have never even tried. Like every one of these broads gets you to a point where you start to think, hey, this could end up being something nice. Yeah. And then by the end of it, you're just left with nothing but regrets. God, if I had just never asked to go see a movie, wouldn't have found out she was a non-call person and a not very social kind of person and a not really good at texting and so busy every damn day, even though she doesn't start working until 4 in the afternoon, which gives her the whole morning and early afternoon to do stuff. Yeah, it's fascinating. You can't get her to do anything with you other than sit next to you while she stares at her phone. When that guy was saying that he thought I was flirting with her, I said I feel like saying in retrospect, hell, the only thing she flirts with is that damn phone. She's over there gazing and gawking at it and giving it this undivided attention. There was one guy I remember who was like saying bye to her, and he works in the like a different part of the place than she does, and they're closer in age than I am with her, and I've said before like I don't care who she dates with, and I felt like because I do like that I felt like saying to him, hey, your funeral. Wait until you ask her out and find out all the stuff that I did. You can't even get this broad to let you sit in the car with her, but she's gonna go on a date and kiss you. Yeah, and I'm Queen Elizabeth while we're at it. You can't help sometimes that what is so important on her phone that is taking up all her attention. Like, can't it wait until you're back home to carry on like that? Apparently not, and I told you that when I was reading my book, that particular Sunday that happened, the second me and her started talking, I just stopped reading the book. I just looked at her, the whole conversation, undivided attention. But you can't get that in return. Dude, could you imagine like if I went to see the movie with her and she was staring at the phone while the movie was, I'd be pissed. Like, I'm paying for this. Watch the damn movie. It's just weird, man. One time I asked my brother if he wanted to go and see her at the job, like if he wanted me to drive him up there. He said if I wanted to see trash, I'd go to the junkyard. Man, I just it's a sad world, man. It's a sad state of affairs when like the woman I'm like the most interested in and like putting all the effort in is one that won't even give you the time of day when uh when you're around her or when you're not around her, excuse me. You can't take this seriously. No, you can't. Cuz like when she stood me up, I was pissed. I was cursing down the street. I wasn't screaming, but I was like very angry and, looked probably crazy as I was walking back to my car after that nonsense of that convention. And when she wouldn't talk to me, I felt bad. I felt like I had taken one of the few good relationships I had there and just butchered it by asking for something that was a little too much, even if I had no way of knowing that it was. But now I don't. It's just a joke. Like this lady gets mad at me every other week and then goes back to talking to me anyway. So it just doesn't seem as like even the lady that I was talking to when she did her report started. It sounded like she was about to laugh because of how goofy it was. It's all just a big joke. You can't take this seriously, not at all. No. If you take this seriously, you'll go crazy. Like if I actually sat back and I said, man, I sure would like to sit up in this lady's car with her and hang out and go see a movie and watch something together and hear her laugh and talk about what parts she liked or didn't like and talk over the phone and why can't I do this stuff with her? Why? I'd get upset, but now I've just accepted for whatever reason this woman wants to keep you at an arm's and she's claiming she does this with everybody. I guess based off of what I've seen, I can believe that, but it still doesn't no good excuse. Uh I think she would win an Oscar for the biggest comedy. Dude, you make me really want to write like a serialized version of my like dynamic with her, like actually write a new novel that's just based off of this. Like this whole saga of her, just a book. It could be 200 pages, it could be 10 chapters, and just me read it. I'm not even kidding. They should star her instead actual instead of actual comedian. One of my coworkers said that they thought I was a comedian because all the jokes I was making. I said no, I just try to entertain myself because trust me, this job sure isn't. I told her to her face she had a catchphrase. I'll let you know. Yeah, I'll let you know. I don't know. I'll let you know. The second time she said, I was like, no, I've already foreseen that you will not tell me. That's why they make me feel like a psychic. It's like, I already know. You're not going to let me know. Don't forget about that weird. Oh, who could forget? Hey, if I send you a message, will you respond? That still creeps me out. I wish you could have seen it, man. I wish I could have taken a picture of that. I was so confused by like that reaction. Like I thought her brain shut off or I really for a second thought, did I break her? What happened? It didn't make a lick of sense to me. Like I'm not kidding you, in all my years of having whatever with people, I've never had someone just stare at me like that for that long after I asked them a question. And it's not even like, hey, so are you going to admit that, like, just example, Magumi, are you going to admit that women are actually the greatest human beings? They never make any mistakes, and you've been totally wrong, and you're actually an I word. And you would look at me and be like, but you get where like there would still be a hint of emotion, like this is just this big. With her, it was literally just staring with this kind of like put on smile, as if she knows that she can't commit to just saying, yeah, yeah, man, I'll send you a message, whatever. I forget sometimes. I don't know what the hell that was. That face is still in my mind. I can still picture it. I haven't seen that face before, and hopefully I won't see it again. That was terrible. Like literally, that face turned me off from writing anything else to her. Because it's like, for what? You know, I can't even get you to say, "Hey, yeah, I forgot. I'll respond." How hard is that? And sure enough, it was me mentioning that again is what drove her to like finally get up and walk away on that Sunday. So it's like she knows to some extent that that was like crazy to me, but again, doesn't affect her one way or the other because you know she doesn't care if she gets messages from me. I mean, come on, just another cog in the machine. Ah, these chicks, man, that was weird. It was an awkward, ridiculous stare. I'll freely admit that. There's a lot of stuff about her that's ridiculous, though. That's going to be in like the top 10, I guess. It's like she is somewhat aware of how stupid she's been with you, but at the same time, not really. Well, I tell you, every time it seems like she's going to acknowledge in a serious way something she does, she just like backtracks. Like, I tell you, when I sent her that text message of like where I apologized, I really thought she was going to finally open up to me and we were going to talk about, how we'd missed each other. And, she sent that crying emoji. It's okay. Let's pretend it never happened. And she didn't even respond after that. Like, not until the next day, anyway. Uh, Certainly not in the way where it was like more, revealing, right? Like, yeah, I really admit nothing, just whatever. Like she reset everything. She came to work that day waving at me, and I did my nod of the head and walked to her car when the shift was over. But uh, she she's she is to some extent certainly self aware of how dumb this stuff has been. Like when I mentioned that, okay, you say you're not a text person, but I also can't call you. She knows a lot of this is like getting dumber and dumber. Uh, but not enough to like, okay, maybe I shouldn't treat this person this way. Hey, maybe if he's going out of his way to get to know me, I should actually, like throw him a bone here or there. Nope. Like, okay, he can't come in my car, he can't call me, but he can meet me at the movies. Yeah, why not? Nope. Nothing. Just Oh yeah, trust me, her and the other one that blocked me on her channel. That they are Dumb and Dumber. They just haven't met yet. I feel like her and her boyfriend would be Dumb and Dumber though. I could see them riding around in a little van together. He's my boyfriend, and I'm gonna choose him. I'm sorry. God, what a one of the, that line made me cringe. So she was the ultimate. Like they have this thing called heel face revolving door on TV tropes where it's like a character who's a bad guy that then becomes a good guy, then becomes a bad guy again, and a good guy again. That's what she was. Where it's like every time I thought she was done being an idiot, she just went right back to doing more stuff to like push me away. And at the by the end of it, I just said to hell with it. Like it's crazy how they are self-aware. She apologized to me. Certainly faster than this other one did. But it's like they just this is what they do. They're just this really infuriating group of people that because of their gender, there's always going to be some defense force for. Uh, there's always going to be someone that makes excuses for them. There's always going to be someone who says, "Oh, you don't quite understand this. You have this tripped up." Blah, blah, blah. All this little psycho babble. But the point I'm making is you're never going to see them get the type of blowback or pushback that they really should get for acting so damn crazy and erratic. Jem says, but we are friends. Nah, Jem, you only have two friends. Condoleezza and Cullen. Or Colin, rather. Every time I get one of her books, I put it next to me, Jem appears. Very true. And because of that, they are very unlikely to have any sort of accountability for the dumb stuff they do. I mean, think about this, man. She can do this to me for over a month. And then because I won't say anything to anybody, because I don't like spreading, rumors or, well, it would be true, but, I don't like putting my own stuff out there with people I'm really not friends with. She could have some other unsuspecting fool come up who actually does want to date her or whatever and do the exact same thing to him. I'm telling you, I rue the day that I asked her to go see a movie with me. I just can't get over the idea that the one broad that I felt comfortable enough to extend myself in a way that I normally don't with almost any of them in first time in years had to be this screwed up. I really I just feel like, damn it all. I'm serious. I've sat back many nights just wondering. Mixed signals queen, the crazy co-worker from California or of California. I mean, hell, I might as well try to make some money off of this. Put the chapters up of me reading them. Write the audio book, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. This could be a solid probably 12, 15 chapters altogether. 15, 16. I'd say the movie thing would probably happen at like the fourth or fifth one. And then we would get like the stuff that's currently happening around like 14, 15, because you have that whole like 2 weeks of not being spoken to. That's got to be at least 2 or 3 chapters. She's very toxic. I'm almost thinking of writing this the mixed signals queen. Damn, I haven't written a book in like I think 6 years or 7 years, and this might be the motivation I need to get over the hump. Imagine I make a song for it too, like I get some band to perform the instrumental for me, write the lyrics. She'll agree to go see a movie, and you'll think that's pretty neat. But when it comes to lies and stupidity, she just can't be beat. She'll spend weeks ignoring you and saying nothing at all. But then at the same time, she'll be reporting you and orchestrating your fall. She's pretty unique in the sense that you've never encountered this kind of lady before in person, and the things she said and done toward you. I'm not kidding, man. This is the first one that I have ever seen in real life that has said you can't hear my voice over the phone. This is the first one that I've encountered in real life as an adult who, in spite of them having a car, they just will not meet you anywhere. Because, like I said, Triple L, when I met her in person, she didn't have a car. I didn't have a car. So it was like I kind of got it a little bit. And Uber and these other rideshare services are not really affordable when you're trying to go some far distance. But damn, man, like she is unique. I have to admit that this is some uncharted territory. If you told me last year I'd be jumping through all these hoops just to try to be friends with some broad, I would have said you're out of your damn mind. Especially when with all that damn makeup. Got the eyeliner, got the lipstick, got the manicured nails. Like, Jesus Christ. I don't even know what this is anymore. Like I'm just going through the motions at this point. That's another vital point. This was all stemmed from trying to be friends with her, no romantic desires whatsoever. I pledge to you, man, I've never once looked at her and been like, I can't wait to get her to come back to my place and show her a good like it's never once crossed my mind. This is a broad that at a maximum, maybe after work, hey, you want to go hang out? Hey, you want to go drive around here? Hey, you want to talk about this? Whatever. I want to go see a movie. That's it. Like that is the totality of our interactions. I'd be perfectly fine with that. Um, all the romantic stuff has been pushed by other people. By that one coworker that said he thought we were flirting, and then her asking we're going as friends, right? And that's all from those are all figments of other people's imaginations. Like there's no thing I've done where it's like, oh yes, please be with me in this way. No, never. So I said, if it's this hard, try being friends with one of them. Imagine the nightmare of trying to date one of them. You might as well be climbing Mount Everest. I'm trying to think what would be a good cover story for like a stream with her. Be like, oh yeah, this is hmm. I feel like she would do that for some money. Not even like a bunch of money either. Like, hey, here's $20. Come to my place and we'll talk about, whatever. You might not be able to get her to do that, but you can get some of them to do that. I know that some of these people will jump at even like the slightest bit of extra change. It's not even funny. Also, I know this is irrelevant, but you may have a video planned uh, for Toriyama's passing. No, I don't, because I don't like a death in the limelight. If I wasn't talking about you when you were alive, I really don't like doing the aftermath of passing type video. She should have been terminated for false accusation. Well, she wasn't. I mean, look, I said when I spoke to a lady, I don't want any kind of retaliation or whatever. I really would just like for this to kind of like be a thing that is observed as being as insane as it is. Because again, I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble or thrown out or whatever. Uh, I would much rather if I have a problem with someone actually talk to them like an adult instead of having to run behind the teacher. But again, we'll see what happens. She has been signaling that she might want to speak again. We've only seen each other, I believe, two times. Excuse me, three times since that happened. And the first time was the day after. It was last Saturday when I worked that work weekend, and no words even at all for like 8 hours, which was very awkward. Sunday was like brief, uh, working together for like an hour, and then Tuesday was when she made her commentary or whatever and said she wasn't mad at me. So we'll see what happens. That's an interesting outlook that actually sparks my thoughts as to why people tend to only care or acknowledge their existence when they've passed. Yeah, I don't like that. I really I'm not a fan of like his death seemed to come out of nowhere, but I still would rather just I'll acknowledge that it happened, but I don't feel like I have to put it people look, I just think a lot of those other channels are milking it. That's just my view. I've seen one person make 6 or 7 videos about this man since he died. It's really obnoxious. Think I'm kidding. This site is filled with people. Like I'm the kind of person where I can pretty much always find something to talk about. Like I spent a whole hour talking about the job, before even mentioning this broad. Some of these people have channels where it's like I mean, hey, when a Dragon Ball reference, it's the dead zone. Like there's nothing to talk about. So they just, oh, the creator passed. He was my hero, and you guys may be wondering what's gonna happen to the series now that he's deceased. He wasn't even working on it damn near that much anyway. It's no big deal. As far when I say no big deal, as far as like it doesn't change the direction of the story. I'm not saying not a big deal in terms of who he was or whatever. It's just they are really just anything they can squeeze out of this man's corpse. It's sad, man. It really grosses me out. Like, get a life. What the hell would I look like? I never talk about you. Never make any videos about you. Then you die, and I'm making like 6 or 7 of them with your name in the title. How's that work? Also, this will be the last stream. I've decided I'm not really a streaming kind of person. Also, Jem just revealed he's not really a typing kind of person, so you won't see any more comments from him. I did mess with her too on that during that last conversation where I said I'm not really a patient kind of person, and that was supposed to lead to me being like, "All right, we're gonna go see a movie tomorrow." But she responded by saying, "I see," and I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, "Oh no, I was joking." So it threw me off. Yeah, that's true. Very unfortunate the way how things are on here, milking stuff like that to get some extra coins. I told you I'll never forget the celebrity passing that like made me realize people are just full of crap was Michael Jackson because when I was a kid, he was a laughing stock, a joke. Everybody made fun of the way he looked, the way he talked, has been. Da, da, da. After this man died, I don't. It wasn't even a week after this man died. The greatest singer of all time, and it's like, I tell you that I wasn't born in 2009. I remember those final years of his life and the trial and him being like a gag, a joke, a parody. And suddenly after the man passes, all the respect that he had 20, 30 years ago was just restored overnight. Yes, this is a very good example of this problem. I'm just saying, man, like, even as a kid, I noticed the whiplash, just how quickly that once someone passes, it just all flips, like that was in rapid time too. I remember that during school. I'm sure you do. It was all over the news. That was a major event. I'm telling you, I'm just surrounded by death, man. I swear. Nothing but passing, and this person died. And I have one relative where they mention how sick they are. They admit on purpose so that when they die, you won't be surprised. So it's gotten to a point where it seems like every other year I go to a funeral. Like I'm really sick of it. Literally, like every other year since 2015. It's like over the last 9 years, it's been back and forth at different funerals. Just death, 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 death. I was driving on the freeway a few nights ago, and I started smelling something that was like kind of fiery, and I looked, and it was like these fire trucks and I guess some ambulances. They were putting out a car that had caught on fire. Someone's whole car was just burning up, and I didn't know if the person was still in there. I'm serious. All it like it's just nothing but death, just surrounded and caked in it. And I'm real close to making another one of those we can't go back type videos. Because I would say no one of significance has passed since that came out, but I'll put it to you like this: it never. I always try to make the point that with a lot of this stuff, time passes, right? Like, oh, it's been a year, it's been 2 years, whatever. But with some people and some things, it just doesn't matter. Like I have one relative, 6 years they've been deceased, and I can still just picture them standing in front of me. I can still hear them calling my name. I can still remember when we stood by each other and they would come up to my shoulder. I can still remember getting in the car and going to get something to eat. It doesn't matter what year it is. It doesn't matter how long it's been. As long as I remember, I know the difference between when they were around and when they were gone. Back then, I actually had companions. Serious. Before the this past year, I never was worried about, oh my God, I'm gonna not have any damn money, and what am I gonna do? This person's gonna make me homeless. I had never That never was a thing I had to worry about. And I do feel that in the absence of the ones I've mentioned before, that the current ones have taken advantage of that. And uh as I've said in the past, if I am ever allowed to be a notable figure, they will all have their secrets flung out there for the world to see. It is not okay. I don't care how many years it takes. They will pay because they're all worried about their reputations and what do people think of me. You won't have one after I'm done with you. You see, it seems not many people seem to have this way of thinking when it comes to the importance on the passage of time. Well, it's because like some stuff time just doesn't fix. It doesn't change. That's why I said the stuff with this woman is funny and it's entertaining, but it's all part of like a long list of stuff that just disenfranchises me further because it's not easy for me to just like be this assertive with someone and try and at the same time compromise with them. Oh, you don't do calls? Okay, well I'll text you. And then just like see nothing improve or get better. Uh and still feel like, oh yeah, there's actually a purpose to this. Like I had people in my life 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. You asked them, yeah, you want to go see something? You want to go eat something? They said yes. I wasn't constantly having to like fight for their attention. And even with my friend, like I don't have to do that. Like if he's busy, whatever, I can believe that. But uh, you get the point that there were people that were around constantly, and I guess I feel that in their absence, the crappy new versions are not, anywhere near as uh, willing to participate in those same activities or even be people that you would want to do that with in the first place. Like that one that tried that kicked me out over a door. They had their birthday a month ago. I felt like sending them a message saying happy birthday. I hope it's your last. I don't care what you think of me for saying that. Anyone that is okay with me not having a place to stay isn't getting any good wishes for me. It is a sad state of affairs because people don't have to be like this. And really, I tell you, it all just goes back to that thing of like all the people you care about are going to just year by year be taken away from you until you're left with nothing except having to jump through hoops to try and meet someone that will hopefully possibly give you the time of day and work at some job where they can't even give you half of a full-time schedule and then have to resort to switching between that job and some other job just to barely be able to pay the rent at some crappy apartment that isn't even two rooms long. Like it's lousy, man. It's scary to think about, but I've experienced it. If 2 of those 3 people hadn't have died, I wouldn't even be sitting in this room. Hell, if one of those 3 people hadn't have died, there's a good chance I wouldn't even have this job. I probably would have something of a well, that's a whole other rabbit hole, but basically after one of them passed, everyone just kinda stopped caring, but it's my point is that, uh, you really can feel someone's impact just as much when they were alive as when they're not around, because you see what they were willing to do and what other people are not, and you can notice the difference rather easily. I don't know. I guess, and you might look at me like I'm crazy for even putting up with the mixed signals queen after all this stuff. I'll just try to say this. I really think that there might be a, it's not rational, but an explanation as far as thinking that I was recording for the sake of trying to get her in trouble, or some other like nefarious purpose. And I feel like if maybe I can talk directly to her about that, we can, at least reach some understanding. I'm not saying become friends or anything like that, but just reach an understanding. And it's simply not easy in a situation like this to completely wash your hands of the person, start talking to some other broad. Because, like I said, I don't even. I would rather close the book on her entirely. Um, definitively, that's it. We're done, right? Which I still don't even think that's going to happen because the way she's been acting. Then try to start up with another one of them, and then be surprised if the same thing starts happening again. Hell no, I totally understand. You really went through all that garbage. I'm telling you, chicks are like poison. They're all looking out for themselves, and they don't care who they have to step on to get ahead of, even by a little bit. Serious, I don't even like understand the point of this stuff with these people. Like, if relationships are just going to be a frustrating thing where the other person acts like they don't even like being around you, or they only like you under certain conditions, why even bother with it? You'll never see this amount of effort invested by a chick trying to be. Oh no, I told you, I observe her at the job sometimes, and like I don't see her trying to like talk to someone on their break, or uh like I said, it's literally the same thing every time. You go to your job, do your little stuff in the front, run back and forth, clock out, run back to your house. That's it. And then, oh, and let's not forget her favorite activity. Every time, every time, same thing every day. So it's not, you don't see any effort on their part. It's just the same old crap each day. The mundane existence rules again. Someone who is so assertive to want to befriend another person, someone who genuinely wants to be friends and hang out and do regular things with. It really does feel like no good deed goes unpunished. Like I still can't believe this whole rabbit hole started over just wanting to go see a movie. I should have just gone to the movies by myself like I do 99% of the time. Damn, what was I thinking? I'm not even kidding. There's actually like a direct link of times where I've tried to be more sociable and it just like blew up in my face. It could be the simplest thing. You could be inviting people to go see a movie with you. You could be saying, "Hey, you want to hang out at my place?" It doesn't matter what it is. They'll find some way to twist that knife, man. It's crazy. But they really just squandered and not be receptive to it at all. No, because I said that like if I had to stand somebody up at the last minute, I would try to show them that I really didn't want it to end up that way. Hey, can we do this next weekend? I'm available this other day. I'm so, like, but she didn't do that. She just stood me up, got mad at me for being mad at her, and then ignored me for 2 weeks. And then when I tried to, like, rekindle and maybe try it again, I'll let you know. And then never let me know. That's why I say it's all just a big cartoon. Speaking of things that are random, this guy was talking about Superman 5 yesterday, um, the canceled Christopher Reeve sequel. And I was like, I feel the same way towards that movie that I feel towards TASM 2, where or TASM 3 rather, where it's like, I guess there's a part of me that would be curious in seeing a script, maybe, whatever. But doing a sequel to a film I don't like or actively despise is kind of not exciting for me. That's why that window analogy you often demonstrate such an accurate description of this stuff. Yeah, when you talk to a new one of them, clean slate. And you're having a good time talking to them. It feels like you're opening a window, and you're thinking maybe this will be different from the other times. Maybe we'll actually see something here that's positive and add something to your existence, and it's not just the same old ridiculous, drawn out nonsense. And then right as you let your guard down, right in the stomach. And then who are you mad at? The thing that hits you, or you for even like, I mean, you know better. You know that things are this way, that they never change. Just like when that guy was talking about, oh, you should whatever with her. It's like I said to him, it doesn't matter what I want. She doesn't like me in that way, and I was correct because not even what a week later, I asked him to go see a movie, and then we found out that she asked the stupid "we're going as friends" right question. So that confirmed that. But it's like I'm not some brilliant genius expert. These chicks have shown, you know, for literally years up to this point that they're not interested, no matter what you do. So it wasn't some shock to me to have my suspicion confirmed. Like I said, when this stuff keeps repeating itself, at a certain point, it's like, hello, pick up on this. I'm kind of in the mood for a coffee. I'm gonna go to Starbucks and see the line stretching out to the street again. I'm serious, man. These people have lost their minds. Like, I still can't believe this whole thing started over that. And I have been thinking about her. It's hard not to when you work with someone and almost every time you're there, you see them, even if it's just for a few hours, mostly. Uh, and I never got around to making a video on like that one woman I obsessed over back when I was in high school. But the thing about her is that was someone who I really liked the appearance of, but wasn't really friends with, and just kind of like had an idea of. This is so much worse because it's like when a person agrees to do something with you, they take your idea and they present to you the possibility of it becoming a reality. Like, hey, we want to have a call with me? Oh yeah, sure. And then you schedule it with them, and then they stand you up. So it's like it's even worse to actually talk to someone and get this belief in your head that they originate. Oh yeah, this person likes me. I mean, why else would they be speaking to me? Duh. And then when nothing happens, it's even more like frustrating because this isn't just you lusting after some random person you don't know. It's like, no, this actual person you've spoken to and thought called yourself spending time with and whatnot. I have to protect my triangle. It's protected. It's in a coat of armor. They often like to entertain the thought of your idea to get you excited at the prospect. And I'm starting to notice more and more of these chicks just won't say no. Like they'll really sit there with you and make it sound like they want to hang out, they want to talk, da da da, when they have no intention of doing that. They'll just sit there. Just they love the attention. Oh, she absolutely loved the attention of me going outside and talking to her during her break. And you could and think about this. You can stare at your phone and have someone who's completely interested in speaking to you, and they're looking at you and making jokes and trying to, ask you what you're doing. Maybe, maybe. I'll let you know. Am I going to stream Monday? I'll let you know. I should. I don't have anything. I don't think I have anything else planned for that day. Hmm. That's got to be real fun, huh? You can just stare at your phone and have someone that is like so attentive to trying to make you smile and ask you how you're doing, and it's fascinating, isn't it? And it's always so one-sided. Oh, she definitely loved the attention, especially at the job. Like that was terrific for her. The complete and utter disrespect to she had shown you constantly. They don't care. They don't think they have to, do anything. You're just supposed to be mesmerized. Do you guys have any other stuff you want to add in here before I go and try to attempt to get some coffee and some other overpriced product from everyone's favorite ripoff? I mean, totally fair priced institution. Any further comments, thoughts, theories, claims? Like I said, I'm going to see her tomorrow apparently, and if she speaks to me, I'll speak back. And I really would like to just ask, or rather say, I don't have anything of you. Like, you can relax. Yeah, you did upon another We Can't Go Back video. I'll certainly be looking forward to it. Yeah, I have a little bit of the script already like started. It's just it's hard, man. It's difficult to just sometimes sit back and put things into words. But it's based on the idea that, because like when We Can't Go Back, it was stuff that you could never regain. With this other one, it's more so, how did we get to this point? Like how do you go from, it's like, I guess it's sort of like When the World Seemed New, where there's like this period where it seemed like the sky was the limit, and then just as time passed, more and more stuff just sinking and sinking and crumbling, and altogether just leaving you with nothing, like just you're just totally devoid of any happiness, of um you know any like excitement for the future. And it's not even like trying to say that you will end up with this, but it's saying like, how did it get to this point? How did you just completely have all of the you know uh things you looked forward to and or enjoyed just stripped away. Like where did that even begin? Oh, don't tell me enjoy, Gem, because I don't even know if I'll be able to get in the line as big as that line can tends to be on the weekends. Don't give me any type of premature congrat. Seriously, if I see a line that's stretching out into the street, I'm just turning back. And the worst part is they have so many of these places, and they still have lines that are that damn long. I agree. Yes. But don't worry, we're gonna eventually get around to your buddy Condoleezza. We'll make sure she gets her documentary. And if you don't leave a comment on it, I'm never reading another comment you write again. You're gonna be like a ghost. They're gonna call you Gem the Hologram 422. You'll be like, who's that? Where'd he go? Somebody write something? I don't see it. If we do one of those on your favorite woman, there's gonna be no excuse for why you didn't write something. I don't care if you were out of town. I don't care if you were burying your long lost sister from the Netherlands. Oh well. Seriously, if you have to do a documentary where you read hundreds of pages of books and grab pictures and record it, and then somebody can't even write man, he better hope that he has the best excuse the world has ever seen. Hey, instead of being a not very social kind of person, I'm going to be a not very Gem kind of person. Every time you write something, I just turn my head. Man, I'm telling you, that broad has like done a whole number on me. I'm gonna need to just have a vacation and get away from this whole setting. Oh, remember, we're going as friends. Where I was like, why did you think I want to be your boyfriend? I hear voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me. They talk to me. They tell me things that I will do. They show me things I'll do to you. She definitely was hearing some voices with her logic. Like, we're going as friends, right? Why did you think I want to be your boyfriend? I hear voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me. They talk to me. Hey. Oh my god. Well, I think let's see. On my handy dandy schedule, they gave me a pity extra day for Thursday after they played games with me yesterday, which I guess they call themselves being merciful. Yeah, going to be seeing her crazy behind tomorrow and Tuesday. So I guess, and technically Thursday as well. But it's like I leave as she gets there, so maybe not. But we'll see what happens. I'll update you on the never ending saga of the mixed signals queen. So thanks for showing up, and have a good rest of your weekend. I certainly won't, but hey, it is what it is.